Episode 6 didn't just move the story forward, it quietly changed the balance of power in a way that could affect everything that comes next. At first it looked like a simple punishment for betrayal, but by the end, it turned into something much deeper, something smarter, and honestly, something no one fully expected. Section 1, The Betrayal in Jaime's Impossible. Jaime's moment, Jaime learns about the betrayal. You can feel the weight of leadership pressing down on him. This isn't just about anger or revenge, it's about control, trust, and the future of everyone depending on him. These weren't strangers who turned against him. These were his own people, men who lived on his land, ate from his table, and still chose to betray him. That kind of betrayal cuts deeper than any enemy attack ever could. At first, Jaime reacts the way many leaders would. He thinks about removing the problem completely. Sending the men away, along with their families, seems like the safest option. It's clean, it's final, and it sends a strong message. If you betray, you lose everything. No second chances, no exceptions. And honestly, for a moment, it feels like that might be the right decision. Because if you let betrayal slide, what stops it from happening again? But then Cleveland steps in, and his advice pushes things even further. He doesn't just suggest punishment, he suggests wiping out the threat entirely. Every single one of them. No risks, no loose ends. From a cold and strategic point of view, his logic makes sense. Fear can control people, and a harsh response can stop future rebellion before it even begins. But there's something about it that feels too extreme, too final, like it would solve one problem but create a much darker one. You can see Jaime struggling in that moment, not because he doesn't know what to do, but because every option comes with a cost. If he's too soft, he looks weak. If he's too harsh, he becomes someone he never wanted to be. And that's the real conflict here. It's not just about punishing betrayal, it's about deciding what kind of leader he is going to be. Then Clare steps in, and everything shifts. She doesn't speak with anger, she doesn't push for revenge. Instead, she brings something that the situation was missing: clarity. She reminds Jaime that the punishment he's considering won't just affect the guilty, it will destroy innocent lives too. The women, the children, people who had no part in the betrayal. And suddenly, the situation doesn't feel so simple anymore. Because now it's not just about justice, it's about fairness. Clare makes it clear that punishing everyone for the actions of a few is not justice, it's cruelty. And deep down Jaime knows she's right. But knowing something is right doesn't always make it easy to act on it, especially when emotions are high and trust has been broken at this point. The story slows down just enough for us to really feel the tension. Jaime isn't rushing into a decision anymore. He's thinking, watching, questioning everything. And that's when the truth begins to come out. The wives, they didn't know. That moment changes everything. Instead of anger, we see fear. Instead of defiance, we see desperation. These women aren't defending their husbands' actions, they're begging for forgiveness. They're trying to protect their families from a punishment they don't deserve, and it becomes clear that they were left in the dark. Just like Jaime was. This is where the emotional weight of the scene really hits, because now, the idea of sending everyone away doesn't feel like justice anymore. It feels wrong. It feels like punishing the innocent just to make a point. And that's not who Jaime is, but the problem still remains. He can't just ignore what happened. There has to be consequences. There has to be a message. Otherwise, his authority means nothing. And this is where Jaime makes a decision that completely changes the game. Instead of removing the families, he removes the power. He gives the land to the women. It's such a simple idea on the surface, but the impact is huge. The men who betrayed him are no longer in control. They no longer have the freedom to make dangerous choices. Their position in society changes instantly. They go from decision makers to dependents. And that shift does something that punishment alone never could. It forces accountability every single day. Now, if they make a mistake, it doesn't just affect them. It affects their place in their own homes, their own families. It's not revenge, it's balance. And honestly, it might be the smartest decision Jaime has ever made. Because instead of ruling through fear, he creates a system where responsibility matters more than power, where trust has to be earned again, not demanded, and where the innocent are protected, not sacrificed. By the end of this moment, it feels like the situation is finally settled. Justice has been served, but not in the way anyone expected. It's quieter, more thoughtful, and somehow, more powerful. But if there's one thing this episode makes clear, it's that moments like this don't just end stories, they start new ones. For a brief moment after Jaime's decision, everything seems settled. No shouting, no chaos, no immediate danger. On the surface, it looks like the storm has passed. Order has been restored. Justice has been served, and life should slowly return to normal. But if you really pay attention to the tone of the episode, there's something quietly unsettling about this calm. It doesn't feel safe. It feels temporary. Like the kind of silence that comes right before something breaks. This is where the storytelling becomes very subtle, but also very powerful. Instead of giving us another big dramatic event, the episode slows down. It lets the characters breathe. It shows small, quiet moments. But those moments aren't peaceful. They're filled with a strange tension that's hard to explain, but easy to feel. It's like everyone knows something is coming. They just don't know what. And then we move into that moment from the trailer that changes everything. Jaime wakes up in the middle of the night. There's no loud noise, no visible threat, nothing obvious that would explain why he's awake. But you can see it on his face. Something isn't right. It's not fear exactly. It's more like a deep, instinctive feeling, the kind that doesn't come from logic, but from experience. Jaime has been through too much, seen too much, to ignore that kind of feeling. When something inside him says danger is near, it usually is. And that's what makes this moment so effective. Because it's not showing us the danger, it's making us feel it. The darkness around him, the stillness of the night, the way he suddenly becomes alerted, all builds this quiet sense of dread. It's the kind of scene that doesn't need action to be intense. The tension comes from what we don't see, from what hasn't happened yet. And then comes the line that sticks. I went there once. What if it was our daughter? That one sentence opens the door to so many questions. It's not just emotionally, it's mysterious. What place is he talking about? What memory is he reliving? And why does it connect so strongly to their daughter? The way this line is delivered matters too. It doesn't sound like a random thought. It sounds like a realization. Like something has clicked in his mind. Something he didn't fully understand before. And now that he does, it's too important to ignore. This is where the story starts to shift from external conflict to something much deeper. Something personal, because now, it's not about enemies or betrayal anymore. It's about the past. Right after that line, we see Fanny. She's crying, standing near the small monument built to remember Jane. And this moment is quiet, but incredibly heavy. There's no need for long dialogue here. The emotion speaks for itself. Grief, loss, confusion, it's all there. And the way the scene is placed right after Jaime's line can't be a coincidence. It feels connected, like the story is slowly pulling these threads together, even if it's not ready to fully reveal how. And this is where things get really interesting. Because if you start putting the pieces together, a possible theory begins to form. It's not confirmed. It's not stated clearly, but the hints are there, and they're hard to ignore. Clare might ask Fanny to talk about her past, about her mother, about faith. At first, it would seem like a simple conversation, just a way to comfort her, to understand her better. But as Fanny shares her story, something unexpected could happen. Small details, certain memories, things that don't seem important at first, but slowly start to feel familiar. And then Jaime hears it. Something in those stories connects to his own past, a place he's been before, a moment he remembers, a path that, until now, seemed completely separate from Fanny's life. But suddenly, it doesn't feel separate anymore.